Excellent. And good morning, good afternoon, my friends, and live long and prosper to you. Miss Missy, nice background. I'm impressed. It is, what's today? Today's the 17th, 16th. What day? If it's the 16th, I'm constantly in a whirlwind here, rolling around somewhere. Yeah, it's the 16th of Feb of 22, and this is the John Lavenia Success Mastermind. I'm your host, your guy for today, Glen Henderson, and it's so good to see you. I was just looking at the calendar. If I remember correctly, we've got the hospitality suite coming up in a little while right after this. Then we've got Books for Britain with our good friend Mandy Anderson, Life and Business. No, that's 3 p.m. Eastern time, 6 Eastern, Life and Business Tools with our friend Professor Adrian Garner, who I like to think of as the smartest man in the room, probably because he's the smartest man in the room. And then this evening, you'll get to see me probably sitting in a hotel room somewhere at 9 p.m. Eastern for Networking Magic. And so we'll be back sharing some thoughts and some ideas with you regarding using the power of networking relationships to grow your business, grow your life. And this is a fantastic. Well, first of all, wait a minute. It's Kat. Kat's here. Hello, Kat. Nice to see you. And Daisy, as always, listening in from the job. We appreciate your presence at all times. Gail, steadfast, immovable. We can always count on Gail. Lovely to see you, ma'am. And Missy, I need to know where you got that background. This is nice.
I stole it.
What? No. Well, okay, you stole it.
I just saved the image. I also have.
Oh,
I
look
thought
at
I'd
you.
take along with them.
Now, you and I can't answer, Missy, because we already know. Name that episode. That is a scene from probably one of the most famous episodes in all of Star Trek history. I won't.
That's I know what that's Kirk hits on the beautiful girl episode.
He doesn't hit on her. No.
Right. Yeah.
No. He falls in love with her.
That episode is my favorite, remains my favorite to this day. It is called The City on the Edge of Forever. Fantastic.
You met the woman at the convention, right? You were hanging out with her?
Not the Dame Joan Collins, although I wish. Oh boy. I did meet Mr. Shatner, had the privilege of meeting him at the convention, and there will be more stories like this to tell come this April when Paula and I venture up north to Chicago for another Star Trek convention.
Well, Glenn, you got to hear.
We're looking forward to it.
One day, when I was a teenager, William Shatner, you got to hear it one day, maybe privately.
Well.
Uh-oh.
Absolutely. Definitely talk about that offline. If there's a bit of difficulty with my reception, please accept my apologies. Rest area Wi-Fi is often somewhat less than 100% reliable. Anyway, the Money Mama's here. Couldn't do it without you, Lindsay. Nice to see you. And John, are those sound panels in your ceiling?
Well, yes, they are. Yes.
Outstanding, man.
And so is that art. That art is actually an acoustic panel, eight sections, right?
Looking more and more like a music.
Yeah, now that I live in Florida, I need to have like a beach theme going on, but yeah, bro, this is the office is coming together. So like, Excellent. There's the workstation, right?
Nice.
There's that, and then got some acoustic panels up there. Got bass traps. I'm probably gonna get a few more because the room is kind of resonant. But
Excellent.
Yeah, that's the room.
Well, there you go. And it's evolving. This room is constantly evolving, it seems to me. You're going to be tweaking and adding stuff and making improvements. And this impresses me, you see, because evidence of your commitment to, what is the Japanese word? Kaizen means continuous improvement. Every somebody said to me one time, Glenn, what if you could improve your performance in a particular area, what it might be? What if you could improve your performance by 1%? Not bad. Well, if I'm making, let's say, 100 phone calls a week in aid of growing my business, that would mean 101 phone calls a week. Okay, fine. And would you, we would probably see some progress. It's interesting, John, that comment about, adding the panels and doing the thing, it actually brings us right into our topic for how did you know? What, you're looking in my window again, man? Come on. So then the person said to me, well, what if you could improve your performance in a given area by 1% per day? Ooh. How much improvement you figure you'd see in a week, a month, a year?
37%.
Well, it's a good number. I'd like to improve my performance in a given area of my life by 37%. Now, suppose I could improve it by 1% a day for a year. What do you think might happen to your income if we're talking about growing your business? What do you suppose it would do to the size of my waistline? And it reminds me of, oh, by the way, this conversation that we're having today, I'm not sure how long we shall go because, again, rest area Wi-Fi, but we shall persevere as long as we can. It reminds me, of course, of a Star Trek episode. You knew that was coming, didn't you? Of course you did. I was watching just the other day an episode from Star Trek: The Next Generation. The episode is called The Offspring. It concerns a project taken on by Lieutenant Commander Data. You know who Data is? Well, I'll give you the quick rundown. Data is an android. Don't call him a robot. He is an artificial, a mechanical life form, an artificial life form. And he has been declared as such by no less an authority than Star Command itself. That's another episode, which we'll talk about in another conversation for another day. Data is an artificial life form. He looks just like a human with a few subtle differences. Highly intelligent. He has the complete knowledge and information base of the entire Starship Enterprise in his head. The way he was designed, he's designed to be able to run the ship by himself if need be, if the crew is incapacitated and things of this nature. And the other really interesting thing about Data is that when he was created fully formed, as a fully formed adult type structure. There was no growing up period, really, at least not physically, with Data. And so part of Data's evolution, if you like, part of his service, part of his journey as a member of Starfleet, as a member of the crew of the Enterprise, is a personal project that he's taken on, which is to become more human. He studies human behavior, has conversations with old members of the crew and other life forms they encounter, and he obviously, with a highly advanced computerized brain, which in his case is his positronic network, his positronic matrix, he endeavors to glean and internalize and learn as much as he possibly can about human nature, human reactions, human thoughts and philosophies. And his hope is to incorporate as much of what he's learning into his own programming so that he himself can become or begin to take on more of the characteristics of humans. Are you with me so far? So Data's quest, in addition to service to Starfleet, his main quest during his existence
Hopefully we'll get Glenn back any second now. Are we still live?
I'm here.
Ah, okay. You're
He was
here.
Taken
he's
over
talking
by
about-
the Borg.
Yeah, the Borg. We'll get Glenn back here any second. I was intrigued by this. Glenn, you got to come back and give us the rest of the story, man. Tune in next time, boys and girls, for more thrills. Meeting host left. Okay, so we're still recording, so we'll see about meeting host getting back on here. He said he was on Wi-Fi, which is curious to me. I would think he'd be on cellular data, but there's that word again, data. Data, the Android. Now, of course, lots of people have Androids in their pocket. All right, Clint, put the pieces back together because I'm rambling here. Let's see, where is Glenn? Glenn. Still no Glenn. Well, let me just, while we're waiting on Glenn, let me acknowledge Edward. Good to see you, brother. Haven't heard from you much, but would love to. Daisy, we got to get together. We've got some stuff cooking. Mandy's here. Lindsay, good to see you, Lindsay. Mandy, of course, is hosting our Books for Britain this afternoon. Exciting times. Mandy, maybe you can just confirm that we're going with Britain. We're going with 8 Pillars, James Allen.
Yeah, we're doing 8
Okay.
Pillars of Prosperity, chapter 1 and 2, or the preface in chapter 1. In other words,
Right. Okay. Yeah, chapter, the first chapter and the first pillar, which is the second chapter,
Yep, that's it.
is a lot to digest. There's a lot in there. All right, good times. And then Gail's here, of course. All right, guys, looks like I'm taking over for Glenn. So that didn't work out. Hopefully Glenn will be back here any second. Although I don't know where he was going with that. So taking on, he was talking about how Data, the artificial intelligence guy, would assimilate the characteristics of other actual, living humans, right? Is that what he was talking about? Yeah. Okay, good. Well, you know what? That's not. You don't have to be a cyborg or an android or whatever to do that, right? I mean, who doesn't do that? Or the whole idea of assimilation, the whole idea of you become like the environment that you find yourself in. That's something that I think we're all dealing with. In fact, it's interesting. Just this morning, my wife and I and my daughter toured a school. So we're looking at enrolling her in a private school here in the area. And so we went to see it all. And one of the reasons that we're thinking, let's get her into an actual school, isn't because the homeschool doesn't work. She's brilliant, she's doing fine. And we've got material for her to be studying. She's in the other room doing that right now. But one thing that's lacking from that is the interaction with other people her age on a regular, consistent basis, learning how to negotiate with other kids, and the whole give and take of being human. And so one of the other things we discovered, just because she does have social interactions at karate class and stuff like that. Keep in mind, we just moved to a completely new city on the other side of the friggin' country, right? So we're just finding our way around. But one of the things that did concern me and my wife Shannon is that in Trinity's off time, she'll go ahead and watch children's oriented or family oriented YouTube videos. And some of this stuff is harmless enough, right? We're going to learn how to make slime. We're going to learn how to play with different things, or, here's somebody doing, crazy feats of acrobatics or whatever. And that's all well and fine. But there's also a lot of personalities in there, which, I start to wonder, where's my daughter picking this stuff up? What did my daughter just say? Where did she get that from? I don't think I've ever said that. Now, anyone who's a parent here probably has been through that, right? Where you've said, well, I didn't teach my kid that. Where are they getting this from? Who's a primary influence in my kid's life? Good question. Good question, right? And if we're able to ask that question, and this is perhaps where Glenn was going with this, if we're able to ask that question of another, right? So here's a child, here's a dependent, here's someone who we're interacting with as hopefully a guide, a mentor, an authority, right? Well, can we also ask that question of ourselves? Who's the primary influence in my life? Well, that's a good question to ask. And so, well, where do you find yourself showing up, right? I mean, I show up at meetings like this every day because,
He's back, John.
Glenn's back. Okay, well, good for him.
Please finish your thought. Please finish your thought.
Right. So my thought was that we can deliberately choose that. Just like, here's an 11-year-old girl who's choosing to watch, certain channels on YouTube because she thinks they're funny or whatever. Are they influencing her? Yes, they're influencing her. I mean, the whole idea of TV programming is right there in the word programming. So Data got a program, and he's able to assimilate characteristics and other. Of course, we're talking about a Star Trek, character here, but still, it's not so far-fetched, right? We get programmed all the time, deliberately or not. Glenn, back to you.
Oh, absolutely. I love that. And in fact, the deliberate programming that we impose on ourselves has an enormous influence on how we act and interact with the world, and how I'll cut close to the point here with the story with Data. He created a small android, right, which he named Lal, L-A-L. It developed. The android is endowed with female physical features. And by the way, the word Lal, the name Lal, beloved. Isn't that nice? So Data named his child Beloved. And he, of course, programmed the child with all of his own systems and programmings from everything that he has learned. Something interesting happens. At one point, Data's child, Lal, is confused by the awkward reaction to her from human children. And she doesn't understand this whole thing of the human emotions and reactions. And Data says to her, this is the difference. This is part of the difference between us and humans, understanding these emotional responses. And she says, well, but Father, you have not mastered these things. She says, no. And Data says, no, I have not. I do not have the capability. I do not have the programming to allow me to experience human emotion. Lal says, yet you are continually striving to be more human. Yes, that is correct. Lal says something interesting. She says, then why do you continue the striving? Why do you continue the struggle knowing in advance that you are incomplete, that you will never become fully human? And Data says, because the struggle is what matters. The struggle is what's important, is what is important, Data says. He says, it does not matter that we will never become fully human. The struggle brings its own reward. And that right there is the line that struck me from this episode. As to what happens in the rest of it, you'll have to watch it. But but I'm centering in on this one point. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday with whom I do some sort of casual business and personal coaching, have been for some time. And she was very, very distressed in that she was not able to achieve a certain goal or a certain milestone that she was striving for. And she said, I feel like I'm such a failure. I'm such a failure, she kept saying. I said, well, I can certainly understand that feeling. I've been there, as we have all been there, have we not? We've all had a point where we felt like, what am I doing? I'm such a failure. I'm no good at this. What was I thinking even trying this in the first place? I stink at this. I'm a failure. Have we all not felt that way? If your in mental hand is not raised, then I'm going to watch you because you're apt to lie about other things too. We've all felt that way. The thing that I shared with her is that, well, now wait a minute. I said, let's take a moment and consider something. I said, when you started this journey, this project that you're working on, where were you financially? Well, I was here. And where are you now? I'm here. Okay. And when we started this project, where were you mentally in terms of your mindset? Well, I was here. And where are you now? Well, I'm kind of here, not feeling so great at the moment, but you made progress. Yes, I've made progress. And I said, well, here's another question for you. I said, since you started on this journey, have you quit? Have you given up? No, certainly not. I've not given up. I said, all right then. I said, you remember in one of our previous conversations, the definition we talked about, the definition of success. Oh yeah, Earl Nightingale. Definition of success? Say it with me, class. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The progressive realization of a worthy goal. And she and I took the next 10 minutes of the conversation to break down that definition word for word. Let's do it together, shall we? Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Well, let's go backwards, shall we? Let's start with the word goal. What is it you wish to accomplish? What is it you hope to accomplish? Doesn't matter to me whether your goal is good enough for me to say, yeah, heck yeah, that's a great goal. Honestly, I don't really care what your goal is. And I'm sure John would say the same. Don't really care what your goal is as long as it matters to you. So long as it matters to you and your family and the difference that you want to make in the world. I generally try to avoid, in this type of discussion, focusing on particular money numbers, let's say. Because now what we're talking about, when you say a goal, in this context, a worthy ideal, we're talking about what kind of mark you'd like to make on the world. What kind of difference you'd like to make. Mandy, that cat is like dominating the screen back and forth. Yeah, like pay attention to me. What's going on here? Anyway, so anyway, I tend to set goals not so much in terms of dollars as lifestyle. But then that's just me. What kind of lifestyle do I want to live? What kind of things do I want to be able to do? Write them all down, list it, tot it up, and then what's that going to cost? I get to my money goals that way. Anyhow, a worthy goal, a worthy idea, if it makes sense to you, if it's good enough for you and your family, who cares what anyone else thinks? This is something that my friend was talking about, saying, part of the reason when I started to falter in my movement toward my goal was I had started off and I got off to a good start, And I was really making progress. I was really doing well, making some money. I was accomplishing, this certain milestones step by step. But then I started listening to what other people thought about what I was doing. And well, they were saying, oh, well, I don't think you can do that. I don't think you should do it. You shouldn't go and get your own office so you can work, have a space to concentrate and work. No, yeah. Let's just say some people very, very close to her were actively agitating against the accomplishment of her goals. It's a pretty sad situation. Side note, never underestimate the power of a supportive spouse or partner in your journey. Then, the other half of the definition of success, the progressive realization of a worthy goal. That is, I said to her, yes, it's true. You have not yet reached the ultimate milestones that you seek, the ultimate goal, the number that you're looking for. I said, but let me ask you this. Are you further along than you were when you started? Oh, yes. Have you accomplished a few things? Have you made some money along the way so far? Oh, yes. And you're not quitting? Oh, no, wouldn't dream of it. I see. So you are making progress toward realizing your goal. Yes? Glenn, that's true. So I said, think about it this way. In that you are currently taking daily action, consistent action. Consistency beats intensity 6 days a week and twice on Sunday. Where have I heard that before? Consistent daily action in aid of eventually accomplishing your goal, realizing your goal. In that you are successful. I am? Heck yes, you are. Why? Because you are making progress, because you are moving forward toward your... John, quick question. Have you accomplished all the goals you've set for yourself in your life?
Not yet.
Not yet. Are you taking... This is a silly question I'm about to ask, class. Are you taking consistent daily action in aid of the realization of your goals?
Some of them, yeah. Some I gotta adjust where my attention goes sometimes, because I could see where I go towards expedience. Deadlines. I got deadlines here. I don't have deadlines here. Well, then I'm going to neglect this and put more chips on that, even though this is important too. So, I mean, that's the question of balance, which I still haven't answered after all the philosophy and meditation and everything. So, right.
balance, course correction, let us say.
Right.
But you are constantly seeking to tweak, to adjust, to fine tune, to place your focus where you feel it needs to be. And in as much as every one of us goes through that process of daily evaluating our goals, adjusting our actions toward the accomplishment, correcting ourselves where we feel we're getting off track, where this action, I was saying to her, she does a fair amount of marketing on social media, live videos and YouTube things, and sharing content with her viewers and listeners. And I said to her, a friend of mine, who shall remain nameless, but whose initials are John Lavinia, once said to me, when it comes to marketing, anything online for any reason, or through any kind of marketing method, he said, everything, keep this in mind, everything is a test. Everything is a test, including the successes. What? Yeah. Well, yeah, of course we say, well, I tried this method, it didn't work, so I adjust, I'm doing something else. Great. I tried this method and it worked. Hey, well done. You know what? I tried that method, it worked. Let me run it again to see if I can duplicate the positive results. And if I can run it again and duplicate the positive, hey, you know what? I think I might be onto something here. So you see, everything, as I said to her, everything is a test. Everything involves progressive realization of those goals. So the message for today, my friends, I say unto you, are you aware, or at least do you have a fairly clear sense of your goals of where you want to go today, as of today? You have a pretty good idea what your target is. Pretty good at, you can adjust it, sure, but do you have a pretty good idea where you're going? Yes? Great. Are you taking consistent action, whether it's daily, weekly, every other day, whatever? Good to see you, Gail. Are you taking action toward the accomplishment of your goals? And are you taking that action on a semi-consistent or consistent basis? Yes? If so, then I submit to you that you are, as of today, February 16, 2022, successful. So yes, please go ahead and pat yourself on the back. You're winning. We tend to be too hard on another Star Trek episode, right? I know, Missy, sorry, it's the next generation. Sorry, I'm an OG guy myself as well. But Jean-Luc Picard is told by his brother. You didn't know Jean-Luc Picard had a brother, did ya? His brother's name is Robert. In France, Jean-Luc goes back to visit him at some point, and his brother says to him, all these accomplishments, all the achievements, you're a hero, you're a Starfleet captain, and all this stuff, you always have to win. He says, Jean-Luc, you've always been much too hard on yourself. I can dig that. I can relate to that. Most of my life, I've been way too hard on myself. And I suspect that there's at least one of us, maybe two of us here somewhere in this mastermind family, who spend far too much time being far too hard on ourselves. Yes? Well, if that's you, and I'm not going to point your fingers at anybody, if that's you, may I suggest two things? Number one, cut yourself some slack. There's a guy named of Andrew Whitworth. Some of you may be aware that the Super Bowl was just played a few days ago. NFL football, gridiron football championship. The Super Bowl was played and the Los Angeles Rams won the championship. There's a gentleman on that team named of Andrew Whitworth. He's been in the league a long time. He was just recently traded to the Los Angeles Rams, and he won the Super Bowl as a member of the Rams. You know that Andrew Whitworth has been in the NFL for 15 years. Did it happen for him overnight? Another story I love to tell of a couple with whom I'm familiar who achieved enormous financial success, paid off the debts, paid off the mortgage, burned the whole thing, like the sort of thing many of us dream of, right? Completely debt-free for life. You know how long it took them? 24 years. Now, listen, I am not suggesting that you have to take 24 years to achieve what it is you want. What I'm saying is, cut yourself a little slack. You're not going to make $6.5 million in the next 20 minutes. Give yourself a little time. Trust the process. Allow your system. Wait, you do have a system, right? Allow the system to work for you. Yeah, you work hard. Let the system do some work too, and give yourself a little grace. You'll get there with consistent action. And by the way, the second thing to do, give yourself a high five. You are making progress. You're moving forward toward your goal, which means you are present tense successful. And don't let nobody tell you otherwise. And herewith I take a breath. I'd love to hear from you. What are you thinking? She's gone all John Wayne on us with the background now. I like it. Okay, is that Ken Berry? Joel McRae standing next to it? Not quite sure I recognize the other
That
actor.
is
But anyway.
John Agar.
John
Later became
Agar.
Mr. Clean in the TV commercials.
Oh,
Married
yes.
to Shirley Temple.
Gotcha. Is that shot from the Comancheros?
Now that's She Wore a Yellow Ribbon.
Ah, She Wore a Yellow, which I never actually saw. Believe it or not, I've never seen a lot of John.
Gotta go see it.
I haven't seen a lot of John Wayne. So, okay, what are we thinking? Progress. Daily. I know you're a huge proponent of this, John, of do something every day. Do something. If it's this much, do something. Keep yourself moving forward. I used to think that if I didn't start the thing right now and blow it out of the water and completely explode it and be filthy rich by next week, oh, geez, what a loser I am. I've kind of gotten over that now. Took a while. But progress, again, like Data said, the struggle brings its own rewards. And I know that to be true in my own case, in my own life. I have learned so many lessons about, well, patience for one thing, consistency, and about where the core, for me at least, where the core of my success really lies. And that is in the power of the relationships and the connections that I'm able to develop with other people. Everything in life, I say it all the time, Cody Bateman, everything in life is about creating relationships. Everything. None of this would have happened for me, what we're doing here with the mastermind and so forth. None of this would have happened for me if I had not jumped in my truck 8 years ago and driven all the way to heck up to St. Louis, Missouri to meet some fella named Lavinia. Remember that, John? That was quite a weekend. And so you see, all of this for me started with a connection, with the cultivation of a relationship, of a friendship. And so I don't want to take us off too much on that tangent. That we'll talk more about that tonight. But it's become so clear to me that inch by inch, day by day, week by week, you and I can accomplish virtually anything. And I believe that to be absolute, unchangeable, eternal truth. So that's where I stand on it. What do you think? Pardon me.
I'll just say something, because what else do I do? I'm wondering if that young lady that you were coaching is, because John, in the other group that I was in with John, he made a clear distinction many, many times, and he would say, we hit our goals, but we miss targets. And I used to think it was the same thing. And maybe she's confusing missing a target and feeling like a failure, but you just reset the target. That's all you do. And that's been very, very helpful to me, because I had them all as one thing. And I have said that phrase many, many times to myself. I got to Neville Goddard it. Yeah, I got to, and I'm in the process of still doing that. But she's got to, there is a difference. So you can miss target all the way to your goal. Yes, you can, because you're resetting them and
now that's
taking better aim and learn from that missed target. Oh, now I know how to do it, like you said before. Oh,
yes.
The way to success.
Yes. If at first you don't succeed, try doing it the way you were taught to do it in the first place. Anyway, no, I like that. Miss the target, but reach the goal. It's like course corrections, right? it's like course on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You evaluate where you are. Okay, I'm going a little off. I'm not doing enough of the. Okay, I need to be back there. As John's saying, I need to put a little more focus on maybe I need to set myself a deadline over here because I didn't have. So now I now force myself to focus, put more of my attention on this, and now I have a better chance to get that done. No, I like that. Miss target all the way to your goal. Nice. Thank you, Missy.
From him.
Indeedy do. It's true. Mandy, what book are we covering? I must beg your forgiveness. I've not been able to jump on the Books for Britain this side. Which book are we covering?
We're doing the 8 Pillars of Prosperity.
The 8 Pillars of Prosperity. Who's the
Just
author?
starting it. James Allen. I think that's what they're doing.
Oh!
You finished it, haven't you?
Yes, James Allen. I've got a whole James Allen anthology. I need to go back and read. I'm sure John's read it like 12 times already.
Probably.
The 8 Pillars of Prosperity. Yes, going again. What am I reading right now? I'm gonna call myself out right now. I've just started reading. Here's what I'm reading. No Fail Habits by Michael Hyatt and Company. See, I know certain things about myself. I know that up till now, I have at many times in my life been absolutely lousy at establishing and maintaining successful habits. Those days are over because I now have this book. And I'm going to be doing some, by the way, you guys, just to let you know, a little programming note, advanced programming note. This Friday, my wonderful TV show, my wonderful opportunity with the TV show Networking Now will have at least one very special guest with whom I'm having a conversation. Might be 2, I don't know. I hate putting people on the spot, but it could be 2. As far as I know, as of now, my conversation on the show this Friday will be with the secret weapon herself. Shannon Lavinia is jumping on as a guest with me. We're going to find out all about her career, how she got started, and how many people. You can let her know, John, I'm going to grill her heavily concerning how the number of people and the variety of people that she's helped and what an enormous difference she has made in their lives to help them become successful, including, I might add, your good self, sir. I would imagine Shannon has been a significant contributor to your success in life.
Well, yeah, we go back and forth with being an asset to one another. And when one of us needs a reminder, the other one's there. So, yeah, that's reciprocal.
Excellent. Well, hopefully, you'll be hanging around somewhere on Friday, John. Maybe able to grab you by the shirt collar and bring you on for a few remarks.
That it's a definite maybe. I'll say that. It's Fridays and Mondays are insanely busy. They're like my 2 busiest days. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing you, my friend, in any case, in any capacity. Well, my dear friends, may the wind be at my back. It's time for me to get back on the road. Right? I'm parked at the Florida Welcome Station, just over the border in Pensacola, Florida. And so jumping on the road, I think I've got about 500 miles to go to get to the hotel. I'm hoping to nail it or get somewhere near it today. I do tend to drive at a slightly accelerated rate, but that's none of your business. Anyway, it is so great to see all of you. And even being on the road, I certainly did not want to miss the chance to get together with my JLSM family. Make it a great day, Kat and Missy, Lindsay, Mandy, Daisy, Edward. Man, we can always count on Edward. Love it, love it, love it. And the Godzilla himself. John, thanks for kicking this whole darn thing off. We shall see you all very, very soon. Live long and prosper, my friends. Bye for now.